In today's episode of the Platform Presents podcast, I have an interesting guest here with me today. I'm with Oliver Tarpey, and she's hailing over as the head of performance marketing over at Connected. And Connected is, if you can actually head over to the website and you can see it's the most powerful startup ecosystem. And obviously, a lot of you guys are listening and are from startups, are in early stage companies. Some of them are in a little bit later stage, but a lot of you guys, as we know, are in that stage. So, very curious to learn what Oliver has to say about Connected, but also how he's thinking about growth, for the ecosystem in itself. So welcome to the show.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Of course. So now give us a quick overview, for the people who haven't heard about Connected, maybe tell us first, what it is and how it came to be.
Yeah, okay, cool. So Connected is all about developing a growth engine within the early stage ecosystem. So as some of your listeners may know, the early stage startup ecosystem, if you're within it, can be quite chaotic, fragmented. But with this comes a great opportunity. And we wanted to kind of create an operating system to put structure, data, transparency at the heart of how people connect within that startup landscape. So since then, we've built multiple technologies for our audiences, which include advisors, investors, and startup founders. So we've built a reporting suite for businesses, which integrate with open banking systems, allowing them to drive insights for their own startup in a kind of frictionless way, so they can understand how they are performing against competitors within their industry or segment. We've also built a kind of portfolio management system for VCs, angel investors, and family offices, so allowing them to track their investments, any terms, aggregate all of their portfolio in one place. And then for our advisors and non-executive directors, we've built smart matching technology that allows them to be paired with startups that may have high relevance or high interest to them, depending on what they've filled out within their Connected profile or their career history. So all of this was built with the primary vision of democratizing access to early stage funding and also early stage or talent that can help connect and help scale a startup and the whole ecosystem.
So that means we got like 3 users here. Did I hear that correctly? The startups, the advisors, and the investors, or how does
Correct. Yeah. Those are the 3 primary audiences we cater for. Yeah.
Gotcha. Now, who is, maybe tell us a little bit about it so people understand, like, is there one side of that triangle that is using the product, for free? Is there like a payment model? Like what should people expect when wanting to use the platform?
Yeah, of course. So we within those 3 different audiences, we have founders and advisors, which work on a paid subscription model. So that can start from anywhere between £350 and all the way up to kind of £5,000 per year, depending on the level of subscription, and with that, the services and different technology aspects that they take up within the platform. And then there's the investors who can join the platform for free, and with that, they get access to the latest deal flow and also the portfolio management tools that we've spoken about, and also access to legal documentation as well.
Mm-hmm. So now, how here do these three sort of personas, let's call them, how do they hear about Connected? What's sort of the typical client acquisition channels that you guys leverage, and do they vary per type dramatically, or is it pretty similar?
Yeah, really good question. We have quite a diverse range of channels that we prospect through to try and stimulate interest across those 3 different audiences. We've been marketing probably significantly for a period of a year now. So our main channels are across LinkedIn. That accounts for that takes up the largest proportion. But we also run across Google AdWords, YouTube, referrals, and then we utilize the content on the site to drive direct activity. And going back to your second part of your question around the differences in channels between each of those different audiences, we find that YouTube translates really well for the founders. LinkedIn helps us massively when prospecting non-executive directors or advisors because of the granularity you can use within that channel, almost targeting prospects on like an ABM focus structure with all of the detail that you can go into in LinkedIn Campaign Manager or through Sales Navigator. And then when it comes to investors, driving referrals through some of the product-led growth loops that we have within the platform seems to translate really, really well.
That sounds really good. Now, what role do you would say the website connected.co plays in that journey for those people?
Yeah, it's a kind of key area that we've invested to. So recently just completed a 6-month project around redeveloping the marketing site. So what we hope, I guess, with this new marketing site and the role that it plays is it helps, I guess, from a brand awareness standpoint, it enhances our kind of trust and credibility. So still a very early stage organization ourselves. So we've been running for kind of 2.5 years. So what we want to do is develop that kind of trust and credibility. So when you are a paid membership platform and a lot of the users can only see the technology once they've actually paid a subscription fee, you want to try and reduce that friction. So to showcase as much as possible across the marketing site, whether that be stills of how the platform works, whether that be customer success stories as to how they've utilized the platform, or whether that's showing the caliber of people on the network. So very much focused around kind of trust and credibility, but obviously at the same time, from a performance standpoint, we want to try and get users into the funnel, whether they be founders, investors, or advisors. So you've got these multiple different personas across the homepage, which I guess from a marketing perspective can throw up some challenges, because a traditional rule of thumb is that you on your homepage is that you speak to one audience and you try and convert those and get them into the funnel. So it's a little bit more of a kind of challenge, and there's little different bits of, I guess, intricacies when you've got those 3 different personas on your homepage or marketing site.
That makes sense. I mean, it's actually quite interesting that you bring that up. I mean, what have you learned as a marketeer, in the recent months, but maybe even in previous roles, when it comes to converting those different personas? Like anything that you've learned, any approaches, methods on how to sort of tackle the fact that there are different personas coming to the page?
Yeah, I think you need to be really clear with your opening headline. One of the things that we've found success with through monitoring other competitors or previous experience myself is by having a kind of animated opening headline where you can bring in multiple different audiences within that. I think that really helps. And as long as you can match those to the naming conventions that you've got within your navigation, it makes it very clear that you are speaking to that individual audience, but also making it clear that you're getting all of those audiences in your opening without alienating them. So I think that's something that's works really well. I think what you also have to do when you have those 3 different audiences is try to prioritize them and almost look at them on the basis of a percentage. So you've got to kind of say, right, within our audience, okay, 40% of the focus is on founders, 40% of the focus is on advisors, and then maybe 20% is towards investors. And once you've got those objectives laid out at the start, then you can structure the site accordingly, depending on what those goals are, because you're always going to have different personas that play a different role and have a different weight to your organization, I guess.
I mean, it's a simple yet I think very effective way of thinking about that, because a lot of marketers on the show have been kind of wrestling with that topic, and you're the first one actually just laying out, a simple way. You just categorize that a little bit, give them different weights, and then look into that. Pretty good. I got some rapid fire questions to wrap it up for today. Are you ready for those?
Yeah, let's go for it.
What's the last book that you read?
The last book that I read, so it was probably a book called The Chimp Paradox. I don't know if you've heard of that, by a guy called Steve Walters. He discusses about how we respond in or talks about our kind of responses from a neurological perspective about when particular challenges come in around anxiety and stress, and how to cope with those. So it's something that I kind of, in marketing, when marketing and sales, when lots of things are changing on a rapid basis, it really helps you kind of contextualize and deal with those stresses on a day-to-day basis.
What's one single thing that your company is focused on the most at the moment?
On growth, as probably most organizations are. But yeah, we're looking to trial out and expand the channel mix. So we're going to start focusing on looking at TikTok predominantly for utilizing that platform to tap into Gen Z founders, which we feel like there is a big marketplace and one that Connected can help satisfy with our product mix.
If there would be no boundaries in tech, right, for you as a marketer, what would be the one advice, or what would be the one thing that you would fix? Let's put it like this. What would be the one thing that you would fix for your role as a marketer?
Again, really good question. There's lots within that. I would probably say cross-device tracking is one of the biggest challenges, especially when you are targeting B2B businesses. So I would say that's a big challenge, but probably equally alongside that, as a membership organization, I think the recent changes on iOS around email open rates, really being able to analyze the effectiveness of email campaigns en masse is really quite challenging. So you asked me for one, I gave you two, but they're both kind of big challenges.
Nice. And very last question would be, if we would do a little bit of time travel and we go back to the days of the Manchester Metropolitan University, right? So you're just heading out of formal education into the world of, growth and marketing and sales and the likes. What's the one advice that you would give yourself for your journey?
Yeah, how to think about this question, because it came up a couple of weeks ago. I would probably say to ask more questions. So I think as a early stage marketeer, whether you be a media trainee, a marketing trainee, sales trainee, I think there was always a little bit of nervousness when asking questions, whether I'd look like an idiot within the room. So, and I think once you get older, that actually people want you to ask way more of those questions when you're at those early stages, and people won't look down at you for doing that. So I think if I could tell Oliver of 8-9 years ago, which seems like a very long time ago, just to ask more questions and don't worry about putting yourself out there in meetings to ask the stupid questions.
Gotcha. Very cool. No, we really appreciate, Oliver. You were part of the Pathing Presents show. I want to give you the very last word. If people would be forgetting all that we discussed about Connected, what's the one thing that they should remember?
Just to try it, I guess, would be the one thing to do that. I think there's lots of hesitation around all of the different challenges a founder particularly might face to scale their business, and Connected is very much there with the products, technology, services that we have. It's all there to kind of support you. We've done that for thousands of different startups. So just to get going and take that leap of faith as a potential startup founder.
Thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathing Presents.
Cool.